In this final video for our constitution topic, it's going to be quite bitsy. We're going to look at a whole lot of different little changes that Augustus made along the way. So keep track of them as best you can, and then we'll put them together in the bigger picture in class. So lots of key questions for this one. Number 1, how did the consulship change under Augustus? Number 2, how were candidates now elected? Number 3, what changes did Augustus make to the Senate? Number 4, what was the role of the Concilium Princeps? Number 5, what changes did Augustus make to the law courts? Number 6, why did Augustus refuse the dictatorship in 22 BC? And finally, what was the significance of the title patriai? Okay, so just keep track of them as best you can. As I said, this is a really bitsy topic, but we'll go through it in class as best we can. So firstly, the consulship. So Augustus ended up no longer holding the consulship, which he had done since Actium in 31 BC, because it was unrepublican to hold continuous offices like he had been doing. So consuls would now serve for 6 months, and this kind of started as a tendency or a habit, and then it became regularized in 5 BC and an official limit in 2 BC. So the consuls who started their term in the second part of the year were known as suffect consuls. So as I said, this kind of became an official limit in 2 BC. The result of this was that there was now a wider pool of proconsuls to serve as governors in the provinces. It provided more opportunities for ambitious nobles to achieve their ambitions. And it also gave Augustus a bit more free time from the daily chores of being consul. Alright, elections. So Augustus nominated candidates for election either through destinatio, which means effectively pre-selection, or commendatio, which is a strong recommendation which gave the candidate a great prestige. So destinatio, this sort of pre-selection, involved entrusting preliminary voting to 10 special centuries of senators and equites, and this was then confirmed by the entire assembly. However, others were able to be nominated against these candidates, so elections were still fairly free. Augustus did sometimes intervene against unsuitable candidates, either to promote his relatives or prevent potential opponents. Until 27 BC, only his close supporters had been able to become consul, but after this he opened the office up to former supporters of Antony or the Republicans in order to keep the peace. Next one, the Senate. Augustus gave a certain amount of respect and loyalty to the Senate, which remained the sole permanent and legal source of authority. However, it needed Augustus's military power to enforce its wishes. By 18 BC, its size was reduced from 1,000 to 600, and this made it smaller and much more manageable. So he did this by limiting the membership. This was limited to either if you had the existing qualification, so if you were of senatorial birth and you had been an ex-quaestor, or you had a property qualification of 1 million sesterces, you could be a senator. However, the Princeps senatus, i.e. Augustus, could allow any man he wanted to become a senator, regardless of his birth, so he did enable equestrians to become members. And because he wanted the Senate to take its business seriously, Augustus increased the fines for non-attendance, and he established a quorum, or a minimum number of people attending, for different types of businesses in 9 BC. So the link to this is this Concilium Princeps, which is an advisory body which was made up of Augustus, the consuls, a representative from each of the magistracies, so quaestor, aedile, praetor, and so on, and 15 senators chosen by lot or at random. So their role was to set the Senate agenda and discuss important matters, and this meant that Augustus was able to maintain careful control over the Senate by kind of preparing them by the smaller group. He also had a smaller group of advisors known as the Amici Principes, or the Friends of the Princeps, and he seems to have merged the two of them in 13 BC. The decisions of this body were given the force of a senatus consultum. This is sort of the official decree or advice of the Senate, and this meant that he could now bypass the Senate if he needed to. In terms of the legal system, the senators were again used to form the jury for legal trials, as Sulla had previously tried to do. And the Concilium Princeps was also used as an imperial law court. Moving on to the dictatorship. So after a corn shortage in 22 BC, Augustus was offered the dictatorship, and the people attributed this kind of corn shortage to his stepping down as consul in 23 BC, so they wanted him back. But Augustus turned down the offer for a number of reasons. So firstly, Antony had abolished the dictatorship in 44 BC. Rome's last dictator had been Julius Caesar, who was assassinated. And thirdly, he didn't actually need the power of a dictator, as he could rule Rome quite easily through his tribunician powers and his proconsulare imperium maius quite easily enough as is. Finally, this title of patriai. So it was given to Augustus in 2 BC. It means father of the country or father of the fatherland. And he said that he was given it by the Senate, equites, and populace. And so Cicero had once been given this title after he had saved Rome from the conspiracy of Catiline. So it had propaganda value. He was the pater familias, protecting and guiding the state. And it also tied into his role as the adoptive father of Gaius and Lucius, who we'll learn about later. So the latter of these two came of age in the same year, so it links into this role as a literal father. So just double check you've got the answers. So the changes to the consulship under Augustus, how candidates were elected, the changes Augustus made to the Senate, the role of the Concilium Princeps, the changes he made to the law courts, why he refused the dictatorship in 22 BC, and the significance of the title patriai. If you have any questions or problems with this, let me know. Otherwise, we'll discuss it in class and put it together in the bigger picture there. See you there.